Hi, I'm Ryan, and you're watching Arts for the Masses, where I bring you the latest and greatest performances and art exhibitions in Massachusetts. Musical theater, drama, dance, classical music, jazz, opera, I love it all. And today I'm so happy to bring you one of the brightest shining lights in Boston, Rachel Bertone. Rachel is the newly appointed artistic director of Reagle Music Theater of Greater Boston, and I'm so excited to hear what she has in store for us this summer. Rachel and I attended the Boston Conservatory of Music, and we haven't had the opportunity to connect in a very long time. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. So, for people that don't know who you are, well, I know you first as a dancer. And
Yeah.
in 2007, we did Kismet together at the Boston Conservatory. And you were just telling me that that was your first foray into musical theater. Am I correct?
It was. I think it was 2006, Ryan.
Okay,
I was
okay.
I'm now we're dating ourselves. But yes, it was my very first musical and I worked with Neil and Michelle, just like you did. So,
It's awesome. So prior to that, you were a dancer, and you still are a dancer. And how did Kismet inspire you to learn more about these great Broadway choreographers? Was it a real stretch for you from the classic world of ballet and modern dance into this Jack Cole universe?
yes, I think I always say musical theater has always been in my blood. When I went to Boca with you, I most of my friends were the theater majors, you know. I think I just always connected with that energy. And so working on Kismet definitely sparked an inner joy that I didn't realize I had. And then my mentor, Leslie Woodies, helped me get a little bit more into musical theater. And then my very first professional show after I graduated was at Regal Music Theater as a performer.
So what show was that? Let's go back in time and what was your Regal debut?
It was Singing in the Rain with Kirby Ward, and then we did, oh gosh, what was it? 42nd Street was the third one, and oh gosh, I can't remember the other one, but I did all three shows, and I absolutely fell in love with theater that summer, and just knew it was going to be in my life for a long time.
Now, just going back in time, young dancer Rachel, did you have a lot of tap training and did you do diverse dance training, or were you always on the straight and narrow for a more classic approach?
Yeah, so when I was much younger, my mom enrolled me and my two sisters in dance classes. We did jazz, ballet, tap, acro. So I grew up with that for most of my childhood. And then I became very serious about ballet and I went to the Boston Ballet School where I got a lot of my classical ballet training. And then I went to the Boston Conservatory as a dance major studying classical ballet, contemporary, and modern dance. And I got to occasionally sneak into those musical theater dance classes while I was there. So I always loved a mixture of all styles. And I think as a choreographer, that has immensely affected my work.
And one thing I've just noticed from social media, we haven't connected in a while, but you became very popular offering musical theater style dance classes at, was it Jeanette Neal's dance studio?
Yeah, it was at Jeanette Neal's in Boston. Sadly, no longer there. And I started. That was my very first open dance classes that I offered, and I built my small 5-person class up to what it is today. And I still offer musical theater dance classes in New York. Where I live, actually, so I'm splitting my time between New York and Boston right now.
Oh, I didn't know that you were commute. You're not commuting. You're probably up for the summer now, but that's pretty cool.
Yes. I'm staying with my family for the summer here, and but I live in New York, and I'm teaching at Long Island University actually for the last 3 years, and all through the pandemic, And I moved all of those musical theater classes online, and I ran my business online for 2 years almost.
Wow. Now, for people that aren't too familiar with Reagle, can you tell us a little bit about this theater and where it's located and what types of performances are offered?
Absolutely. So Regal has been in existence for over 50 years. The founder, Bob Eagle, just recently retired, and it was amazing. He was a teacher at the It's in Waltham, Massachusetts, and it's actually based in Waltham High School, which is really special. It's a beautiful theater within the high school, and one of the biggest stages I've performed at, actually. And they offer year-round artistic programming, typically 3 professional main stage shows in the summer, which is what I got involved in, obviously. And then year-round, Bob offered amazing original reviews. So there's a Christmas time show, there's been Remembering the 40s, there's been the Irish show, and then concerts and benefits and galas. And then Regal also offers an educational program. I was actually the associate director for a number of years there. I've been involved with Regal for 10 consecutive years prior to me becoming the artistic director. And that's year round, summer program, winter, spring, and I'm hoping to expand the educational programming. I'm hoping to expand all of the artistic programming. So I'm very excited for that to come.
I think one of the good things to come out of this difficult time is the opportunity to step back and reassess what's happening in the theater community and allow yourself to dream a little bit. And so often, whether it's a theater or a television studio like I'm at now, you get into a routine. And routine can be good, but then you put up these limitations and boundaries. What sort of exciting special sauces are you bringing to Regal? What's in your plan book, Rachel?
All the hot sauce.
Yes.
I'm a sucker for classic musicals, and that is a lot of what Regal is known for. I love being able to take classic musicals and put my own spin on it, tell it through my own lens today. How do we tell this story in 2022? With that being said, I'm also very passionate about presenting new works, bringing new voices into the room. I would love for Regal to be able to be a hub for new works, to be able to workshop new plays, new musicals, bring in new artists. I want to be able to support the community in that way, both Waltham, Boston, and beyond. So I'm very excited to bring that into the mix, spice things up.
So let's talk about this summer season. We're doing two shows, right?
2 shows this summer. This is our first time back from COVID, so we thought it would be wise to go with 2 versus our usual 3. We're doing West Side Story, my favorite musical of all time, and Pippin, which will be great, I think, for some of our older generation ticket holders and for our younger generation of ticket holders. So very excited to bring all of those members together in one spot.
Well, now let's take them one at a time. Let's start with West Side Story. Now, actually, both of these shows are known for their iconic choreography. We have Jerome Robbins for West Side Story, if I'm correct, and Bob Fosse for Pippin. But lately there's been the new movie version of West Side Story where they borrow some things and then they switch some other things up. What can the Regal audiences expect from this production of West Side Story?
Absolutely. So I'll be doing my own choreography. As I always say, you can't take Jerome Robbins out of West Side Story. Justin Peck, who choreographed the movie, the Steven Spielberg movie, had moments of homage, paid homage to Jerome Robbins. I will be doing the same, but it will be through my style, once again, through my lens. How are we going to tell the story today? So it will obviously have ballet and contemporary and that jazz style that you would typically find in West Side Story, but it will all be my choreography. So I'm currently choreographing it now. And we start rehearsals in exactly 2 weeks.
Did you have any specific goals in casting or in a concept that you're bringing to this? There's been so much enlightenment coming to the theater community on portraying racial diversity more accurately. What sort of important things are you bringing into West Side Story?
Absolutely. It is, it was crucial. I wouldn't have done the show unless we had authentic representation for all of the characters. I've directed and choreographed In the Heights in Boston, Kiss of the Spider Woman, and I will not do those shows unless we have actors that represent these characters to tell these stories authentically. I also am very passionate about bringing in dramaturgs to make sure that we are telling the story representing those cultures appropriately. I just won't be involved in a piece of theater if it's not doing that. So we are absolutely doing that here at Reagle. We have some New Yorkers coming in. We have a lot of Boston talent. Very excited. Yeah, I think I missed a part of that question.
I'm not sure what it was, but that sounds great. Now Regal, like you said, it is a massively wide stage, and you have to fill the stage. So that gives you a lot of great opportunities to choreograph. You're not confined to a black box theater. What do we get a big splashy performance and a big Broadway spectacle when we see something at Regal?
That is typically what Regal has been known for. And I was just telling one of my interns the other day that I love choreographing at Regal because I can create these huge stage pictures and tableaus. It's really magical. I'm very used to, I've choreographed at the Lyric stage before or Moonbox where we have much smaller spaces, but we're trying to tell these, Gypsy, for example. So as a director, I have to come in with a very specific vision to say, how can we tell this grandiose, epic story in an intimate space? At Regal, there are no limits. So I've directed and choreographed Carousel at Regal, Showboat, South Pacific, these big musicals there. So it's exciting. The possibilities are pretty endless.
And from my memory, you usually have a fairly large orchestra as well. Is that right?
That's right. I think West Side Story is a 17-piece band right now. But
What
yeah,
what a luxury to be able to hear some of these classic scores with the way that they were originally heard on Broadway, without a lot of synthesizer and fill in, to be able to really have that big orchestra. You have the same music director for both productions. Is that right?
Dan Rodriguez, one of my greatest partners in crime. He is one of the finest musicians in this town. And he and I actually worked on West Side Story exactly 10 years ago. I was just choreographing, he music directed, and we had been pitching West Side Story actually for a number of years at Regal. Wasn't in the cards, but now, of course, here we are, and we're going to do West Side Story. So, and he's doing Pippin as well.
Let's talk about that for a moment. What's it like to revisit a piece that you had worked on so many years earlier? So much changes within a person artistically and emotionally and in their heart and mind. How are you approaching West Side Story now versus how you approached it 10 years ago?
Great question. As an artist, as an artist and a human, I'm completely changed, obviously. So I actually looked back at some of my videos I had and thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to re-choreograph everything. So I am starting from scratch. So you would think, oh, well, you've choreographed the show before, Rachel. And I said, no, I am starting over. I hope I'm a much better and even stronger storyteller now. And then on a personal note, something that's striking me is that I recently lost my mother, and West Side Story deals with a lot of grief and tragedy. And so being able to talk to my actors about what that is, I don't think I ever really understood that with the story before, and I see it in a whole new way, obviously. So Um, a part of me that's kind of a in a way I get to honor my mom with this show, and it was a show we always wanted to do together. So I'm very excited to be able to bring that aspect of myself to the piece.
My condolences, of course, on your mother. Um, and I know that she was honored recently during a recent awards ceremony. And tell me a little bit about how you were able to collaborate with your mother and the support that she brought you to get you where you are today.
Oh yeah, I mean, she is absolutely the reason I am where I am today. You know, she was the dance mom driving me to and from every dance class, every rehearsal, supporting me. Both my parents were have always been so supportive, and we collaborated on a number of shows in Boston. She was my costume designer, and I guess it was challenging at times, but we got straight to the point with things. So we were able to say yes, no, boom, boom. But she was truly one of the best designers there were, and so it was an honor to get to learn from her. And I have such a great appreciation for costuming, and so I'm very excited to be able to work with my costume team this summer, and just continue her legacy as much as I can.
I think this summer will be just a fabulous, fantastic tribute to that relationship and all the support that you've received along the way. Now, something that just struck me is that you are both directing and choreographing both shows this season. Is that typical for the artistic director to take on such an immense task?
you know, Back in the day, Bob actually did direct a number of the shows when he was the artistic director. We have had directors and choreographers work on multiple shows within a season. Dan Rodriguez often music directs all of many of the shows in a season, if not all of them. But I felt very strongly about wanting to direct and choreograph both shows because I really wanted to help put my stamp on the theater, show the standards we want to present, continue what Bob established with bringing forth the highest quality theater, artistic excellence. And I mean, I couldn't say no to West Side Story, and so so it is a big feat in this first season, and so much transition, but I feel ready. I feel good.
Let's move on to Pippin. And Pippin is one of those classic pieces. I grew up always asking my grandmother to rent the VHS tape from me from Blockbuster, and she was always just a little befuddled why this piece was so interesting to me, and maybe it was the guy who played Pippin, his great curly hair. I'll never know, but also
Really?
that curly hair, and of course Ben Vereen as the leading player in that original production moved his body like no one else. So those images and the commedia dell'arte style are very much ingrained in my mind. But in recent years, we've seen the ART reinterpret Pippin into more of a traveling circus sort of motif, and I've seen ultra super modern productions of Pippin as well that take it totally out of medieval times. Are you doing a more traditional production, or are you putting some sort of contemporary spin on it?
Mm. My approach currently, my vision is that they are a traveling troupe of players. They are storytellers, and but we're putting it more into the carnival sideshow feel of things. Bringing in tarot cards and that type of, how do we predict one's future? Pippin is searching for himself with purpose in this world, in this life. And so with my design team, it's been really fun trying to find our version, because the last time this production was done was at ART in Cambridge. I saw it. I was there. I was working at ART at the time. And I know that a lot of people will be expecting the circus. And so what I've been sharing with people is we are going to tell this story through And that's where I always pay homage to the original. So Fosse, of course, just like Robbins, are two of my greatest inspirations as choreographic and director
It's just
role
hard to
model.
do it. How do you go through the Manson trio without giving a little nod to with a top hat and cane? How do you do
That's right.
it?
You can't. And I feel the same. I say the same thing about Fosse as Robbins. Like you can't take those choreographers out of those shows, because they made such a mark. They made such a stamp on musical theater. So Fosse has definitely influenced me as a choreographer. So you'll have your nods to Fosse, but once again, it will be my choreography, and there'll be physical feats and exciting things to behold. But no one will be on a trapeze. So if
You,
you're
you you're
expecting
not sticking
that, I'm
Kathy
just
St.
letting you down
George.
now.
You're not sticking Kathy St. George up on a trapeze.
Well, she's learning right now that there is going to be some exciting. Oh no, she knows she's in the show. Kathy, your cast. I love Kathy. She's going to be doing some fun things for sure, but I have not revealed them to her yet. So
Are you
hopefully she'll be
having
fun enough.
are you going with a male leading player or a female leading player? Um, I believe that even the new version of the script that comes out now is the revival version, which is all reinterpreted, not so much in the dialogue, but at least the keys of the music for a female, I believe. Um, and Stephen Schwartz has said that he doesn't mind. He likes both. So what are you going
Yeah,
with?
we did cast a male identifying leading player. It's Davron Monroe,
Oh,
who
well, he's got it all. If someone would convince me to do something, that would be suave. He's so suave and so smooth. I saw him in Passing Strange, and he just was incredible. Oh,
he's
so
incredible. I've worked
that's
with him so many times, and I mean, just an amazing artist, an amazing human being. He's been in reviews. He's been compared to a young Ben Vereen, so it just made sense. So I'm excited to explore. With the casting we've done too, I'm very excited to explore new dynamics in that way. Um, and tell the story through, I think that I'm very much a collaborator, working with my actors on talking to them and saying, like, how do we put a piece of yourself into this? How can we tell the story with you and you telling this story, right? So it's going to be very different from productions you've seen in the past, but as always, paying homage to what's been done before.
Pippin is such an interesting show because you think of once again the spectacle and fun of it, but there's this very dark shroud that covers the whole thing because they're ultimately, well, a spoiler alert from this 1970s show, trying to lead Pippin to his demise, and it's such a dichotomy of these two very different things.
It's dark. It is recommended for ages 13 up for those of you at home wondering if you can bring your children. Um, and I love that about. I've been doing a lot of research on the show, of course, and originally it was Stephen Schwartz, and they were. It was a lot lighter of a piece, right? With You was a beautiful love ballad, and Leave It to Fosse to say, hey, life is cynical. Things aren't always what they appear to be. Let's bring out the dark side of this. And he created Manson Trio. He created all of those. When we, this is obviously not Kander and Ebb, but typically, Fosse and Kander Ebb worked a lot together, where here's all the razzle dazzle, here's the work, this, everything seems great, this is going to be so exciting, come join us on this adventurous ride, and then slowly the layers get peeled away, we see the cracks, we see the truth, and it's not all so pretty. But then that's the commentary on it, which is life isn't always, peaches and cream. So
Right. And in recent years, I think maybe thanks to the ART, they've redeveloped the ending. They call it the Theo ending now. And because nobody was ever happy with it when it was on Broadway, the show just sort of ended, and it didn't really feel anything. But I feel like the ending that's there now, while it's could be a little unsettling, it's still very positive. I think that you still leave the theater humming the songs and feeling good about the night, that Pippin did the right thing, and he's leading his life the
Yeah.
way that he wants to do it, right?
Yes, and then, well, maybe come see ours. No,
I think that's it.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to play. Typically, with my shows, I always try to find a framing device, and I have figured out the beginning of Pippin, but I'm still trying to figure out the ending of both Pippin and West Side. Because I love having those moments of the audience walking away from the theater just saying, whoa, what was I just left with? What did I just watched 2.5 hours of this show, and I always believe that theater, holds that mirror up to our audiences to, what do we need to see in ourselves? And what can we do going away from the theater to,
Yeah.
work on ourselves, help the world.
One thing that people always forget about theaters is that they are community spaces, and that it requires a community to put on these type of shows. You see a show at Regal and you say that is professionalism, that is high quality entertainment, but you have to also remember that it takes a lot of volunteers as well, whether they be ushers or box office people or costume stitchers that make these wonderful things happy. I believe, is Regal a nonprofit?
Yes, Regal is a nonprofit.
So how can
And
people
the
get
history with
involved? Yeah.
Yeah, so Regal's history has been really fascinating. It really started as a community theater where it was all Waltham locals coming together to put on a show.
Yeah.
And over the years, Bob was very committed to bringing in professional talent from New York. So he would bring in all of these Broadway stars and directors and choreographers. When I was performing, I got to work with Jemsy DeLapp, who is Agnes DeMille's protege. I learned the original Oklahoma choreography from her. I learned the original King and I choreography from her. She played Simon of Legree in the movie, if you've ever seen that or watch it.
Wow.
For our audience members out there. I've worked with Rachel York. I've worked with these amazing people that I got to learn firsthand from. So Bob really found this fabulous way of bringing together these professionals with local community members. And over the years, it's become a lot of local students. A lot of my former when I was teaching at the Boston Conservatory, we were bringing in those. Most of my cast for West Side is our fabulous Boston Conservatory alums or current students. We need that for the age range anyways.
Right.
And so, yeah, we have our auditions, and we'll be getting back now that we're back from COVID, hopefully into a more regular schedule, and we'll have season auditions for our summer shows. And then for our reviews, those we'll be posting those auditions, and ushers, you can come to the website. You can email me on the website. I want to welcome Regal to everyone. I want people to know we're back. We are thriving. And it's an exciting new chapter.
Let's just put those dates and times out there for people that need more information. When is West Side Story and when is Pippin playing, and how do we get those tickets?
Absolutely. West Side is July 8th to 16th, and Pippin is August 5th through the 14th, I believe. But you can check the website out and definitely confirm those dates. You can also call our box office, or you could come to the theater. There are certain days that the box office is open. I would just check those hours on our website. And, we're on social media. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook, and we would love to see you there.
Rachel, it's just been so wonderful reconnecting with you. Congratulations on mounting this first season as the new artistic director at Regal. I'm so excited to go and attend the shows and see what what you bring to these productions.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I can't wait to see you there. Let me know when you're coming.
Will do, will do. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of Arts for the Masses. Like I said earlier, I love it all. Musical theater, dance, drama, classical music. If you are a local Massachusetts company that is interested in featuring the arts that you are creating on this program, just reach out to me, Ryan at artsforthemasses.com. I'd love to bring you on this program virtually or have you here at my studio. And please go out there and support the arts in Massachusetts. Take care.